He sent her perfume always greeted me at the door, a sharp blend of jasmine mixed with something artificial, almost overpowering. It was her signature, a way to announce her arrival, like a queen returning to her castle. But tonight, the air was charged with something else. A tension so thick it made the hairs on my neck stand on end. She stood in the dim hallway, bathed in golden light, her eyes unusually bright, her lips stretched into a manic grin. In her hand, she clutched a single sheet of paper, holding it up like a prize trophy. "Look," she exclaimed, her voice high-pitched, almost too eager. "I got it. I finally got it." I stepped inside, setting my briefcase down. It had been a long day. The relentless hum of fluorescent office lights had left a dull ache in my skull. Forcing a smile, I pushed aside my exhaustion. "Got what, honey?" She shoved the paper against my chest, urgency crackling in her movements. It was an official-looking document, the company's logo embossed at the top. My eyes skimmed the bolded words. Promotion, a knot formed in my stomach. I knew how hard she had worked for this, how many late nights she had spent at the office, how many dinners and family gatherings she had missed. I should have been happy for her. I wanted to be happy for her. "Oh, Brittany, that's incredible," I said, injecting as much warmth into my voice as I could manage. But I wasn't naive. This wasn't just about a career step forward. It was more money, more prestige, and more time away from me. My chest tightened, but I swallowed the unease. I would be the supportive husband, the good partner. She practically vibrated with excitement. I knew I could do it. They finally saw my potential, finally recognized how hard I'd been working. She paced the living room, her heels clicking against the wooden floor, the sound grating against my already frayed nerves. I watched her move, the way she tossed her hair, the feverish energy in her expression. Lately, something about her had been different. She seemed more alive, almost glowing, but not in the way I remembered. It was a frantic, burning kind of energy, like a fire blazing too hot, too fast. I told myself it was just the thrill of success, but a quiet voice in the back of my mind whispered otherwise. I reached for the letter again, pretending to study it. "So what does this role involve?" "More responsibilities, I assume?" She stopped pacing, her eyes glinting. "Oh, it's so much more than that. I'll be leading an entirely new team as project manager." She hesitated, her gaze flickering away. "I'll be working closely with some very important people." I nodded slowly, my focus still on the letter. But something didn't sit right. A strange unease crawled up my spine. My eyes dropped to the fine print at the bottom, to the section with the company's contact details. And then I saw it. My breath hitched. My pulse pounded. "Brittany," I said, my voice eerily flat. "Look at the date." She let out a small laugh, waving a dismissive hand. "What about it? That's the date they issued the promotion. What's the big deal?" I swallowed hard, my throat dry. My hand trembled slightly as I pointed. "This letter is dated June 12th. A pause. A heartbeat. Today is October 15th. The room seemed to shrink around us. The air thickened. Her smile flickered, then faltered completely. Her eyes widened, realization crashing into her like a tidal wave. She stumbled back, her fingers flying to her lips. The paper slipped from her grasp, floating to the floor in slow motion. "W, what are you talking about?" she whispered, her voice thin and shaky, all the excitement drained from it. I stared at her, the weight of the moment pressing down on my chest. "This letter is 4 months old," I said evenly. "Why are you only showing it to me now? Why didn't you tell me about it when it happened? Why didn't we celebrate then?" My jaw tightened. "This isn't a promotion, Brittany. This is a lie." Her carefully constructed facade cracked before my eyes. Her confidence, her elation, gone. Panic flickered across her features, raw and unfiltered. She opened her mouth as if to explain, but no words came. Because there was no explanation. It all started with a simple question, one I wasn't prepared for. "Can we talk?" Her voice trembled as she spoke. I remember the way her hands fidgeted, her eyes refusing to meet mine. She had always been confident, always so sure of herself. But in that moment, I saw something different. Fear. A kind of fear I never imagined she was capable of. I should have known something was wrong. The way she had been distant, cold, always too busy, always too tired. But I never expected this. Never thought it would come to this. I've been seeing someone else. Her words were barely above a whisper. It's not a mistake. It's been going on for months. I didn't yell. I didn't ask why. Because in that moment, I realized I didn't need the answers. They were already written in her eyes. The betrayal had already shattered everything. There was nothing left to say. Instead of fighting, instead of pleading, I stood up, grabbed my jacket, my keys, and I walked out. I left everything behind, our home, our memories, the life we had built together. I didn't look back. Not when she called my name, not when I heard the raw pain in her voice. I just kept walking. The days that followed were a blur. Anger, heartbreak, confusion, all crashing together like an endless storm. But eventually, the storm began to fade, and I started to rebuild. A new city, a fresh start, a different job, a life without her. I buried myself in work, in anything that could keep my mind from wandering back to the past. But deep down, I knew the truth. I was running from the pain, running from her. Sometimes I thought about her, but only in the way you think about something long gone, something you've already lost. I was sure she was just another chapter in my past, a closed book, until she found me. It was a simple message, a number I no longer recognized, but I knew exactly who it was. We need to talk. I stared at the screen, my chest tightening. My mind screamed at me to ignore it, to block her, to move forward. But there was something about it, something that pulled me in, so I typed a single word. Why? Minutes later, my phone buzzed again. Please, I just need to see you. I could have ignored it. I should have. But a part of me wanted to see the regret on her face. So against my better judgment, I agreed. The cafe was quiet when I arrived. I spotted her immediately, sitting in the back, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she hadn't touched. She looked different. The confident, carefree woman I once knew was gone. In her place sat someone exhausted. Hollow, the dark circles under her eyes, the way her shoulders slumped. She looked like someone who had spent the last year drowning in regret. When she saw me, her lips parted slightly, as if searching for the right words. I sat down. She searched my face, hope and fear tangled in her expression. I've thought about you every single day, she whispered. I leaned back, arms crossed. Really, I said, voice calm, because when I walked out that door, I didn't think you gave me a second thought. She shook her head quickly, eyes brimming with tears. I made a mistake, she whispered. I thought I wanted something else. I don't even know what I was thinking. But when you left, I realized I had thrown away the best thing in my life. Her fingers trembled as she reached across the table. Please, she said, voice breaking. Just tell me there's a chance. For the first time in a long time, I smiled, but it wasn't a smile of hope, not a smile of forgiveness. It was a smile of understanding. She wanted me to fix what she had broken, but there was nothing left to fix. I let her sit there, waiting, hoping for words that would undo the past. But I had nothing left to give her. Leaning forward, I placed my hands on the table and met her gaze. You wanted freedom, I said simply. You got it. Her breath hitched. She knew what was coming. I know, she whispered, tears spilling down her face. But I didn't know what I was losing. I exhaled slowly, shaking my head. That's the problem, I said. You only realized my worth when I was gone, and now it's too late. Her face crumpled. She opened her mouth to beg, to plead, to fight for me, but I was already standing. Pulling some cash from my pocket, I set it on the table, and I met her eyes one last time. Take care of yourself, I said softly. Then, just like I had a year ago, I walked away. Only this time, she was the one left behind.